For many years, people imagined Mars as a planet that humans could freely explore one day. In movies, books, and even scientific discussions, Mars often looked like an open world waiting for visitors. Scientists talked about landing anywhere, digging anywhere, and searching everywhere for signs of life. But today that idea is changing. Mars is no longer seen as a planet where we can go wherever we want. Instead, it is becoming a place with strict rules, protected areas, and regions that humans and robots are not allowed to touch. This change is not because Mars is dangerous to us, but because we might be dangerous to Mars. Scientists now believe that careless exploration could destroy important clues about whether life ever existed there. Because of this, space agencies like NASA and European Space Agency (ESA) have agreed that some areas of Mars must remain off-limits. These areas are protected so that we do not accidentally contaminate them with life from Earth. Mars is one of the most important planets in the search for life beyond Earth. Scientists believe that billions of years ago, Mars had rivers, lakes, and maybe even oceans. Today, the surface is cold, dry, and hostile. However, that does not mean life never existed there. Some scientists believe tiny microorganisms may still survive underground or may have existed in the distant past. Because of this possibility, Mars is treated very carefully. To understand why Mars has restricted zones, we must go back in time to the 1960s during the Cold War. At that time, powerful countries like the United States and the Soviet Union were racing to explore space. There was concern that space exploration could turn into a competition where countries would claim planets like land on Earth. To prevent this, a major international agreement was created called the Outer Space Treaty. The Outer Space Treaty was signed in 1967 and completely changed how humans interact with space. One of its most important rules is that no country owns the Moon, Mars, or any other planet. Another key rule is that humans must avoid contaminating other worlds with life from Earth. This idea is called planetary protection. The goal was simple. If we find life somewhere else, we must be sure it truly belongs there and did not come from us. This concern may sound extreme, but it is very serious. Earth is full of microbes. They live everywhere on our skin, inside our bodies, in deep oceans, frozen ice, hot volcanoes, and even nuclear reactors. Some microbes are incredibly tough. If we send spacecraft to Mars without proper cleaning, tiny Earth microbes could hitch a ride. Once there, they might survive and spread, especially in places where water or warmth exists. If that happened, future scientists could become confused. They might find signs of life on Mars, but not know whether it is truly Martian life or life we accidentally brought from Earth. That would ruin one of the greatest scientific discoveries in history. For this reason, strict rules were created to protect Mars from us. As Mars exploration advanced, scientists realized that some areas of the planet are more sensitive than others. These areas might have underground ice, possible liquid water, or temperatures that could allow microbes to survive. To manage this risk, an international scientific group called the Committee on Space Research developed detailed guidelines. COSPER created what are known as special regions on Mars. These are areas where Earth microbes could possibly survive or multiply. Missions that want to go near these regions must follow extremely strict cleanliness rules. In some cases, missions are not allowed to go there at all. These rules apply to both robotic missions and any future human missions. One of the most famous examples of a protected area on Mars is something called recurrent slope linea, often shortened to RSL. These are dark streaks that appear on steep Martian slopes during warmer seasons and fade when it gets colder. When scientists first discovered them, they thought they might be caused by salty water slowly flowing on the surface. Water is one of the most important ingredients for life as we know it. If RSL were caused by water, they would be some of the most important places on Mars to study. However, because water could allow Earth microbes to survive, these areas became strictly protected. No rover is allowed to drive directly into them. Later studies suggested that RSL might not be water after all. They may be dry sand flows triggered by temperature changes. Still, scientists are not 100% sure. Because of this uncertainty, the rules remain in place. It is better to be careful than to risk contaminating a potentially life-friendly environment. Another exciting but frustrating discovery involves water deep below the Martian surface. Some radar studies suggest there could be large bodies of liquid water buried between 11 and 21 kilometers underground. If this is true, it would be one of the strongest pieces of evidence that Mars could support life, at least in microbial form. Unfortunately, this water is far beyond the reach of current technology. We cannot drill that deep on Mars. Even if we could, doing so would create a huge risk of contamination. Any attempt to reach such water would require technology far more advanced than what we have today, along with safety rules even stricter than current ones. Recent missions have added even more complexity to the debate. The Perseverance rover, sent by NASA, has been exploring a region called Jezero Crater. This area was once home to an ancient river delta, making it a promising place to search for signs of past life. During its mission, Perseverance studied rock formations such as the Bright Angel Formation near Shayava Falls. Some chemical signals detected there sparked intense discussion among scientists. These signals could possibly be biosignature signs that life once existed. However, proving that is extremely difficult. If scientists ever announce that life was found on Mars, they must be absolutely certain. They would need to rule out the possibility that the signals came from Earth contamination. This is why Mars sample return missions are treated with extreme caution. Any rocks brought back to Earth would need to be kept in secure facilities and studied under strict quarantine conditions. The protection rules are not only about protecting Mars, they're also about protecting Earth. The Outer Space Treaty warns that bringing unknown Martian organisms back to Earth without proper safety measures could be dangerous. Even though the risk may be small, scientists cannot ignore it. Some experts argue that the rules are too strict. They believe that Earth life would struggle to survive on Mars because of radiation, cold temperatures, and lack of oxygen. They suggest loosening restrictions so exploration can move faster. However, this argument has a major weakness. Life on Earth has surprised us again and again. Scientists have discovered microbes living in places once thought impossible. They survive in boiling water, freezing ice, deep underground, and intense radiation. Every year we learn that life is tougher and more adaptable than we imagined. Because of this, it is no longer safe to assume that Earth microbes could not survive on Mars. This realization makes planetary protection more important than ever. The line between safe and unsafe exploration keeps moving. What once seemed impossible may now be possible. That means rules must remain strong, even if they slow down exploration. In the future, humans may land on Mars. When that happens, the challenge will become even greater. Humans bring trillions of microbes with them, no matter how clean they try to be. Entire regions of Mars may need to remain permanently protected, while human activity is limited to carefully chosen zones. Mars, in this sense, is becoming a planet with environmental laws before it even has cities. Unlike Earth, where protection often comes too late, Mars is being protected in advance. Scientists want to make sure that when we finally answer the question, "Are we alone in the universe?" the answer is real and not polluted by our own presence. In conclusion, the idea of a fully accessible Mars is fading. Not because we lack the technology to explore it, but because we now understand the responsibility that comes with exploration. Mars is not just a destination, it is a scientific record of another world's history. Touching the wrong place at the wrong time could erase answers we have been searching for centuries. By creating off-limits regions, NASA, ESA, and the global scientific community are choosing patience over speed, truth over curiosity, and protection over conquest. Mars may be quiet and distant, but the rules surrounding it remind us that space exploration is not just about going farther, it is about going wisely.